is avoiding taghut means departing by your body from the non-Muslims. Departing, يعني not being living amongst them except for certain يعني certain circumstances, like if you want to go and give da'wah there, if you want to go and call them to Islam, or if you have no other place to go, you cannot go to a Muslim country, you are stuck there, okay, you have no means, okay, then you stay, as the people did in Mecca when the Prophet ﷺ migrated from Mecca to Medina. He left his home and he loved Mecca more than any other place, you see, and he said, I swear by Allah, I would not have left you if I didn't have to. Okay, Allah ordered the Prophet and the believers to migrate from Mecca to Medina. Okay, so they left everything behind, you see, and they went to Medina and made their own community there, and alhamdulillah Islam flourished from there. And those who were staying behind without an excuse, they were blamed by Allah. They were still Muslims, but they were blamed that they are sinners, they are doing a major sin by remaining back. Then Allah made an exception. He said, except those old and those who couldn't migrate. You see? So those people are excluded because Allah does not burden any individual more than what he can take, right? So, but those who could afford to migrate and they did not migrate, they were blamed. And not only blamed, but Allah said to the believers who migrated, you have nothing to do with those who have stayed behind. Meaning, that the lineage has been cut between you and them. What lineage? Not the lineage of Islam itself, because they are still Muslims, even though they are doing this great sin, but the lineage of the more perfect position in Islam, which is faith, Iman. You see? Islam is not one level. Actually, it's 3 levels. Islam is at the bottom. Okay? And then above it is Iman. And then above it is Ihsan, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the true hadith. Okay? So, those who are doing major sins, they are still in Islam. They are still in Islam, you see? And this is something that a lot of extremists did not understand since the time of the early times of Islam until now. They declare people out of Islam for sins. Okay, this is not the way in Islam. You don't declare someone for sin out of Islam. You declare him for a shirk, for associating partners with Allah. You declare him for a clear kufr. Someone who curses Allah, makes jokes of the religion, makes jokes of the truth, steps on the Quran, or for example, curses the messenger, makes jokes about the religion, okay? He is kafir, he's not a Muslim, okay? But someone who does sins, he's a sinner, he's a Muslim, okay? And this is very important because people nowadays, I heard one in England, an Egyptian, an extremist, he has written a book, and he explained here that addicts to any sin are not Muslims. A drug addict is not a Muslim. Alcoholic addict, not a Muslim. And that is exactly the way of the Khawarij, that the Prophet ﷺ said they are the dogs of hellfire. You see? And he said they are the worst amongst the nation, or amongst the people, not the nation. He said they are the worst under the sky. You see? Khawarij. And now we have people who revive it because of their ignorance, you see? And not only he is ignorant, He is ignorant that he is ignorant, and that is a bigger problem. You see, that's a complex ignorance. You see, when someone is ignorant and he doesn't know he's ignorant, that's complex, you know. And then if you add to that he thinks himself that he knows, and he's a scholar, and then this is another complexion. And if you add to all that he looks down at scholars who are really knowledgeable, that's even further and further, you see. And that's what those people are. They declare our scholars to be non-Muslims. They declare them ignorance, you see. You see.
One quick question.
Yes, brother.
It's simple in my head.
Go ahead.
All right. Being relatively new, I don't know a whole lot.
No.
I know a little bit. All right. I know a lot of people who are trying to give me information, and I don't want to upset them or get mad at them or get them mad at me or anyway. But when I hear something that doesn't sound right, even though I know the person, you know, is trying to be a good Muslim, is it wrong to ask them or tell them that I'm not sure what you mean? Can you tell me where to look in the Quran or the Sunnah so I can get a better understanding?
Best thing to do.
Yeah. And if they can't do it, just kind of discount it until they can.
That's the best way, as the brother mentioned, you see, is to ask him, show me this from Quran. And not only just to show you the verse. No, let him show you the meaning of the verse. Who amongst the scholars said this meaning? Because in many cases, those ignorance that I am telling you now, the one I gave the example who's in England, he brings the hadith, but he doesn't understand it. You see? The hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, the one who is addicted to alcohol, he will be deprived from paradise. So he says that means he's a kafir, because no one is deprived from paradise except a kafir. Okay? But this is wrong, because this hadith has many other hadiths which explain it. The Prophet ﷺ has explained this to Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, as in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. When the Prophet ﷺ told Abu Dharr, take this news to the people. Anyone who dies on Tawheed, then he'll go to paradise. Okay? Abu Dharr said, how about if he is a fornicator and drinks intoxicating drinks? The Prophet said, even so. That means, even if he is going to be punished, but he will eventually go to paradise. You see? And Abu Dharr repeated the question. He said, even if he fornicates and does this? The Prophet said, yes. And then he said it third time, Abu Dharr, just to make sure, you know. The Prophet said, yes, forcibly on your nose. It's a way of joking to him and emphasizing it. Okay? So the point is that this man misunderstood the hadith, and people misunderstand the verse. So it's not enough just to bring you the verse and show you. No. Tell me the meaning of this verse from what the scholar said. That's what you should tell him.
Okay, and there's one more thing that I'm picking up, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm on the right track.
Right.
All right. It doesn't matter what we see the person doing or what we think the person's doing. We shouldn't judge and just leave that to Allah. Because he may be doing something that we don't see that makes up for what we see.
See, brother.
So, it's, all right, try and let him know that it's wrong. Try and help him to get past it.
Right.
But past that, nothing. Leave that up to Allah.
Brother, now there is no revelation that is descending on anyone, right? So we only can judge by what it appears to us, what we hear, what we see, right? If you see someone committing an action of associating partners to Allah, worshipping the cross, worshipping the engraved, doing any action of shirk, then you must
make them aware that
you must first believe that he is not a Muslim. Okay? Now, regarding calling him to Islam, it's not wise to tell him, you are a kafir and I want to call you to Islam.
Oh, I know, but based on my case, I ended up in Islam because I was given a bunch of questions until find the answer.
Right.
And I went looking for it.
Right.
And that's what that means.
No, see, the best way to give someone da'wah is to tell him the truth. Okay? Not to judge him or not to declare the judgment for him. This is not the time to declare the judgment to him, you see? But it's an obligation on you to have denial of Taghut, as we mentioned. If he is worshipping other than Allah in any way, then in your heart you should declare that he is not a Muslim. Okay? You don't have to spell it out for him if you want to guide him to the truth. You shouldn't spell it out to him. You see? You just show him what's wrong and what's right.
And give him the information so he can figure it out.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Okay, so this is the second thing regarding kufr and taghut. And the third thing is that we mentioned earlier, that you declare anyone who is falling into kufr and shirk, to declare him as such. You cannot declare him otherwise. You see, you declare him as such. Even if you have to declare him only in your heart, because you cannot say it by your tongue sometimes, okay? And the fourth thing is the hatred for anyone who is an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This hatred is part of the faith, because there cannot be love for the allies of Allah without hatred for the enemies of Allah. Otherwise, you will be contradicting yourself. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ said, من أوثق عرى الإيمان الحب في الله والبغض في الله والموالاة في الله والمعاداة في الله. Amongst the strongest bounds of faith are those four: loving for the sake of Allah, and hating for the sake of Allah, and seeking allegiance with those who worship Allah and love Allah, and seeking disallegiance, disassociating yourself with those who do not worship Allah alone. Okay? And these are the strongest bounds of faith in Islam. And this is the meaning of the word La ilaha illallah. Because when you say La ilaha illallah, you are denying and affirming. La ilaha is a denial. Illallah is an affirmation. So what does this denial require? It requires animosity and hatred for those who do not worship Allah alone. And what does the affirmation require? It requires love and allegiance for those who worship Allah alone. And this is the meaning of seeking allegiance and breaking allegiance. Wala and bara in Islam. And this is very important. It's one of the duties. And anyone who claims to you that we love but we don't hate, he's a big liar. He's a big liar. And if you come to his real life, you find him hating so many things and so many people. Like those in America, for example, who say, no, we don't hate anyone. Why are you killing them? Is it because you love them too much that you are killing them? What kind of love is this? If you loved them, you would not kill them. You see? Why are you taking it so easy and lenient to go and destroy a place in which you kill 20, 30, 40, sometimes even more?
Hundreds of thousands.
And Bush came to Iraq, and what he did there caused killing hundreds of thousands. You see? So what kind of love is this?
That was more love of self, because he's in the oil business.
Yeah, that's, it's a big lie, that to say, oh, we only love, we don't hate. Allah is only loving God. You see, our God is only loving. Okay? You are fooling yourself. Because by saying He is only loving, then you do what you like. what can stop you? If you don't fear Allah, nothing is going to stop you. You see? So it's a big contradiction. So these are the four things that constitute the meaning of denying the Taghut. You see? To declare, to disassociate yourself from any falsehood, to disassociate yourself from the people who are on falsehood, to align yourself with the truth, and to align yourself with the people of the truth. This alignment with the people of the truth can be of degrees, of ranks. This brother, mashallah, I see him worshipping Allah and obeying Him, so I love him more than that other brother who is sinning. You see? I love them both because they have something in common. They are worshipping Allah alone. Okay? But he is doing his best in obedience. He deserves more love from me. You see? So this also, it's not black and white, as they say. Yani, when you love a Muslim, you can love one Muslim more than the other, depending on his obedience to Allah. You see? Even an innovator Muslim, you still have to love him for his Islam. Although you hate the innovation that he has. You see, and hate him as much as the innovation. You cannot hate him as much as someone who is committing kufr and shirk. This is unjust. You see? Unfortunately, we have some extremes nowadays who say no. You deal with innovators like dealing with kafirs. You don't love them at all. And they think that this is the right way. And this is not the right way. You see, this is not the right way. Except if the innovator has innovated shirk, like many innovators nowadays, for example, who worship the engraved and who do a lot of forms of shirk, and they think themselves Muslims, but they are not Muslims. Okay, so in this case, you give them what they deserve, and they deserve nothing less than any other kafir or mushrik. So these are, this is regarding this verse. Any question before we go to the next verse?
You mentioned Islam, Ihsan, and
Islam, Iman, and Ihsan.
The Ihsan part, I don't understand.
Ihsan, the Prophet ﷺ explained it. When Jibreel asked him, he said, "Oh Muhammad, what is Islam?" This was a lesson for the companions. Jibreel came to the Prophet ﷺ in the masjid. And he asked the Prophet ﷺ, he came in the form of a human, a very nice looking companion. He came in the form of a very nice looking companion. Okay? And he sat next to the Prophet ﷺ. He had very nice clothes and everything. And the companions were amazed. Where did he come from? It doesn't look like he is a traveler. No dust, no traces of traveling on him, you see. So they were doubting that there is something. So he asked the Prophet, "Oh Muhammad, tell me what is Islam?" So the Prophet ﷺ mentioned Islam, that it is to testify La ilaha illallah and to establish the prayer and so on. Then what is Iman? Then the Prophet ﷺ mentioned faith in Allah and His angels and His books and so on, 6 pillars of faith. Then he told him, what is Ihsan? He said, Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you constantly see Him. And if you don't see Him, at least you feel constantly that He is watching you. This means what? This means that you are not wasting any time you can.
Always doing the right thing.
Doing not only the obligations, but exceeding the obligations. Doing the preferable things. Mustahab, something that is desired, but not obligated on you. You see? This is ihsan. Okay? So, Iman is to be sufficient with the obligations. You are a mu'min. As long as you do what you are obliged to do, what Allah ordered you and the Messenger ordered you, and it's an obligation, and stay away from whatever Allah made haram, then you are faithful. Okay? You are mu'min. But if you go beyond that and search for pleasing Allah with anything that pleases Him, whether it is obligated or just preferred, okay, then that is ihsan. That is ihsan.
So, Sheikh,
Yes.
did you go over the last two top times of Tawhid by Ibn Taymiyyah?
Ibn al-Qayyim, huh?
Was it Ibn Qayyim?
Ibn al-Qayyim, nah.
Was it the last two? The first one was anyone who's pleased to be worshipped other than Allah. The second one, anyone who claims to know the unknown.
Yeah, this is by Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab.
Okay.
He mentioned the 4 heads of Taghut.
How many?
We mentioned 4, right? Or 5?
We went through 3. I got.
We mentioned
Was there a fourth one?
2 regarding rulers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And why did he mention 2? Because a ruler could be a person who makes a constitution and put it for the people, and a person who accepts to rule with other than the rule of Allah when he is not the head of state, but he's a judge. He's even in your house, you are the head of the house, and you say, I forbid any of you to go to make salat, for example.
Does it also go for making things permissible that are impermissible?
Yeah, same thing. Yes,
Cool.
yes, same thing. Okay, the next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Your Lord has decided that you only worship Him alone and be good to your parents. Now, qada, which means your Lord has decided, we have 2 kinds of decisions here. 2 kinds of decisions. One, which is the will of Allah, which is called the universal will, okay? And one which is the order of Allah. Allah has ordered you to worship Him alone. And this is what is meant here, you see? Because if it meant the first, then there wouldn't be any kafirs, would they? Right? I mean, if Allah decided in the first meaning, like His universal will, universal means then everyone will worship, you see? We have no one who worships the cross, or no one who is a kafir, or nothing, okay?
No free will.
Huh?
No free will.
No free will, ahsant, very good. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most just, and He has created us in the best way. And it wouldn't be the best way without free will, you see? So, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ here means He ordered you. You see, not that He willed universally, if He willed, whatever He willed universally will occur. You would not be putting your hand on your cheek like this if Allah did not will it. And you would not be half sleepy if Allah did not will it also.
Kun fayakun.
You see? Yeah, kun fayakun. Because Allah says in Quran, إِنَّمَا أَمْرُهُ إِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا أَنْ يَقُولَ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونَ. That it is, when it comes to the orders or when it comes to the will of Allah, then whatever He says be, it will be. Okay, this is the meaning of the universal will. Kun fayakun. Okay. Actually, it's not the best translation, the universal, but it's the closest. Kun in Arabic, universal is a translation of kawniyya. Kawniyya means be, and it will be. Kun means be. Okay. It's but we said it universal just to bring the closest meaning. Otherwise, just like saying Ar-Rabb, Lord.
But it's not.
Huh?
It's not actually.
Yeah, as you said. Because I know brother Sheikh Mahmoud Murad, may Allah reward him, we had an argument in this. He's a good translator, mashallah, very strong brother in Riyadh. And he said, no, Lord is a very limited meaning of Ar-Rabb. So we should not use it, okay? He was very tough about it. I said, well, what substitute do we have? We don't have. So whenever we mention it, we explain it in a way that people don't misunderstand it. That's all we can do. So this is regarding the order of Allah, that you worship Him alone. Always when you have Allah says, worship me alone, it automatically means, and do not associate partners with me in worship. And it is mentioned that way in many verses. Yani in many verses, Allah doesn't only say, worship me alone, it says, and avoid worshipping others besides me. You see? Like the next verse that will come, we will see that, okay? But it is implied, yani, because it makes no sense if you worship Him and then you don't avoid worshipping others. You see? It makes no sense. That's why we say, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. O you who are not worshipping Allah alone, we don't worship the one whom you are worshipping. Even though they are worshipping Allah, but because they are worshipping others besides Allah, then their worship for Allah is cancelled. It's nothing. So that's why we tell them, you are not worshipping whom we are worshipping. Even though we see them by our own eyes, that they are praying to Allah, they are doing some other worships, but they are cancelled because they are also worshipping others besides Allah. You see? So always when there is the order, do not worship but Allah, it means also, it implies, and do not associate partners with Allah in worship in any way. And then be good to the parents. Notice the position of being good to the parents, where it comes, you see. The first obligation is the foundation of Islam, worship Allah alone. Right after it is the obligation towards the parents. You see? Similarly, another verse which will come, the first thing which is forbidden is associating partners with Allah in worship. And the next is being bad to the parents. When we came to orders, the first order is worshipping Allah alone, and the second is to be good to the parents. And when we came to evil actions, the first thing to stay away from is to associate partners with Allah in worship, and the second one is to be bad to the parents. You see? This shows that this action has no equal in Islam. Being good to the parents. That's why the Prophet ﷺ once was going to fight the enemies of Allah in his time. Some companion came and he said, "O Messenger of Allah, I want to come with you and join you in your fight, because there is great reward in jihad, in fighting." So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Do you have living parents?" He said, "Yes, I have an old father and old mother." He said, فَفِيهِمَا فَجَاهِدْ. Make your jihad in them. Go and be good to them. Go and serve them. Stay back. Don't come with us. We have enough. You see, we have enough. Go and do your jihad with them. And this shows how deviant are some contemporary people nowadays, who, because they think they are making jihad, they look down at any other action. You see? Yani, if you are not fighting along with them, if you are actually not doing the same corruption they do, like blowing some tower in New York or London or this, then to them you are not making jihad, okay? And they shame you, and they make you a betrayer, and they make you an enemy of Allah, and they say you love the kafirs, and yes, they accuse you of all kinds of accusations, you see. This is the biggest injustice, because in Islam, making the 5 prayers is a great jihad. Fasting Ramadan is a great jihad. Being good to the parents is a great jihad. you see. Giving da'wah to the people. This is one of the most beautiful ways of jihad nowadays, you see. Learning the religion is a